Hi there. I'm Terces, and I want to take a moment and welcome you to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast. First of all, I'm so grateful that you're here. Some of you are here for the first time, and many of you have been with me for a while. So thank you for sharing your journey with me and being a part of my journey. So, the Unreasonably Grateful podcast is really the recognition that our stories matter and that we learn from one another's stories. And every week I've promised that I'll show up and I'll break my heart open, letting some of the wisdom that's grown through my 38-year journey of recovery from addiction for me, 20 years of an eating disorder. Now, I don't have your answers, you do. But sometimes if we listen to someone else's story, it's easier to see things about ourselves, our own journey, and our own process, giving us a little bit more freedom or a little bit more wiggle room. So that's my hope. So once again, whether you're new or you've been here for a while, you're welcome. And you can always share with other people that you think might also enjoy this podcast and invite them to listen in. Love to have them. So I'm in a series right now where I'm reading stories from my book, Unreasonably Grateful, Living in Grace by Choice. And this particular week, I'm reading a story called Mother. And it's about our remembering that we're amazing. We're all amazing. And it's so easy to forget that, particularly if you're dealing with healing and restoring or those broken off pieces of yourself. So you can follow me in the book if you want. This is page 54, chapter 32. The date on this is 2005. Okay, here we go. Let's see, where's the best place for me to have the right light for this? There we go. My mother was dying. She had an inoperable heart condition, calcium deposits on her aortic valve. And somewhere in the process of overseeing her care in the last year, it became important to me that she knew that she was a great mother. We had been through a lot together. And the truth is, the older I got, the more I came to appreciate my mother. I could feel how hard she had tried, her unrelenting spirit, her many skills, and her dedication to my father. Every time I was with her, I would ask her, "Hey, Mom, do you know you were a great mother?" And she would reply with, "I tried hard," or "I sure loved your dad," or "I did the best I could," but never quite able to simply accept what I was suggesting. And then one day, I asked, as I always did, "Mom, do you know that you were a great mother?" And she said, "I wasn't I?" I nearly yelled out loud, "Yes!" The next day I arrived and I could hardly wait to hear her say it again. I walked in, gave her a hug, and then asked, confident in her reply, "Mom, do you know that you were a great mother?" And she said, "I wasn't always late like you are." My mother continued to teach me up until the very end of her life. She never let me relax into any version of, "I've got this," which is such a good lesson. Life is a moment to moment experience, unless I fall asleep to it. So, question on the bottom of this page is, do you know that you're amazing? So I think for me, as I read this story and remember that time in my life, part of the lesson is, because I'm now in the midst of newness, part of the lesson is we think that if something happens once, then we have the expectation that it'll happen again, rather than living in the curiosity and wonder of each and every moment. And also, the other part of this lesson is we do fall asleep to how amazing we are. We listen to that internal voice that judges and criticizes and corrects ourselves. And maybe even there are people around you who you experience being judged and corrected by. But remember, the real work is in us, with us, and for us. So this week, see if you can't catch yourself when you're living as if there's something wrong with you. And then just remind yourself how amazing you are, how unique and special and different and talented and gifted and all those things that you really are, whether you acknowledge them or not. And then also, I think part of what this brings up for me is how we want we want others to notice the goodness in ourselves. And when they don't, we maybe feel criticized or judged. But remember, it's up to you to recognize your divine gifts and qualities. And hey, if other people do, that's great. And they may not. So this week, take on living amazing because guess what? You are. All right. See you next week. And thanks again for being a part of this journey.